The James Show Podcast.
Let's look at Texas real quick. There's so much going on here that's just sort of an echo of the bigger national stories. Number one, the Charlie Kirk situation has made the situation for teachers a little bit tougher, especially if you're a lefty teacher. You've been having a hard time. Texas legislature went and changed a whole bunch of laws that probably annoy you. So now you can't have secret sex talks with minor children behind their parents' backs anymore. So that stinks. You can't have obscene material in the library of elementary schools. So that's got to be a big bummer for you, lefty teachers out there. Also, if you weren't going to put it in the library and you were just going to present it in your own classroom, you're now required by law to catalog all the books that you present to the children. So there'd be some sort of accountability and enforcement mechanism on the mandate here. So that's got to make it tough for you. So there's a lot of gripes that they have before the Charlie Kirk thing even happened. And now it's even tougher for the lefty teachers in Texas because now you can't even go out and celebrate and glorify the murder of your political opponents anymore without someone getting upset. And if you can't pick up sarcasm there's a lot of it in those last few sentences. So they've had a tough time. And it's not just the Charlie Kirk thing. There's a whole lot going on. I mean, you know how awful it's going to have to be if you're a lefty teacher to put the 10 Commandments on your wall and have to walk past that and just be exposed to that every day? I mean, that's got to be like, I don't know, the vampire seeing the sun. It's like, oh, no, a moral code. No, Christianity. No. It's got to be terrible for you, right? Well, some people are starting to crack here. The Abilene ISD superintendent wrote a really, really long message and threw it up on Facebook. I'm not going to read all of it. Not even going to read portions of it. Just know that it's a screed that if you asked AI, complain about the Texas education system as if you were Rachel Maddow, this is probably what would have come out. And so it's just lefty talking point after lefty talking point after lefty talking point. And, you know, it's all under the guise of this isn't about politics. This is about the children. This is about education. This is both sides, all that garbage, which just lets you know it really is all about politics. And it's really not both sides that are the issue here. But he really just kind of goes off on Texas Republicans really hard. And so a couple other outlets picked it up and kind of reprinted it as if it was a column. Who was that? Like Texas Tribune or Texas Monthly or something? Don't quote me on that, but it got picked up by other platforms and was used as a column. He originally wrote as a Facebook post. So now it's gone viral like 3 different ways from Sunday. And the real interesting part is in the comment section. Aren't we kind of getting used to that? You see an article, you read this, you're like, well, this is BS. Can't wait to go to the comment section. Then you go down to the comment section, and it's the battle scene from Braveheart, the Battle of Sterling. Mel Gibson has half his face painted blue down there. And so that's what's happening in the comment section on whether if you still go to the original Facebook post, it's up and you can see all the carnage out there. But one of the big summaries he has after just laundry list of grievances, just his airing of grievances against what the Texas state legislature has done and the Charlie Kirk reaction and all that stuff and the parents suck. And after all that, it seems to be the phrase that sort of has caught on the most with the commenters and then now the news outlets that are reporting on it is his insistence in all caps to stop calling teachers demons. My answer to that is no. I have never said, no one has ever said, I can't find any examples of anyone ever saying all teachers are demons. So no one is saying all teachers are demons. But you can be damn sure that some of them are. And I'm not talking about the ones that I disagree with politically necessarily. There's a lot of fantastic teachers who are lifelong Democrats. I know. I had them. I'm still friends with a lot of my teachers. And if you think that's weird, I'm from a hyper small town. And so like my teachers were friends with my grandmother when I was growing up. And now my aunt works at the same school I went to. So my aunt's friends with them. My aunt had some of the same teachers that I had. And I had a cousin that went there who was, dude, it's a small town thing. Well, you're weird, Garrett. You're not the metric for anything. You're not the litmus test for what's weird and what's not, sir. We're going to start a segment called Garrett's World, and it's not going to last long because it's weird. He's like so vanilla and so good, it's strange. Anyway, more to come on Garrett's World. But if you want to know the ones I'm talking about, all you got to do, like pull up Texas scorecard basically any day of the week for the last 2 years. and you can see some teacher that's done something pretty damn demonic with our children. We have, some of the teachers were mocking and celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. Look, that's pretty demonic and pretty gross. But we also have like another Kemp ISD teacher charged with sexual misconduct. This is the second Kemp High School teacher arrested this year for sex crimes involving a student. Can I call that one a demon? What about the guy that worked at the first grade? He worked in first grade at some elementary school in Texas. He just got in trouble. Not for doing something with the children in his class, but he had some stuff on his hard drive that makes you think maybe he shouldn't be working at an elementary school. Go look. There's over 300 instances of, air quote, bad apple teachers just in the state of Texas, just in the last 3 years. It's happening on a clip of about every other day. This is just the ones we know about. Can we call them demonic? Because he's right in the fact that it's wrong to just blanket say all teachers are demonic, but no one's saying that. It's just as wrong to say no teachers are demonic, because some of them have definitely demonstrated their demon status. I am your host, James Parker, bringing you something that you're probably hearing for the first time right now. Tony Ortiz gets the credit, though. It's his website, currentrevolt.com, where I saw this first. And I believe you actually got the connection from Data Republican, which I guess only terminally online people are aware of. But give me the backstory. Give me the connection between Texas and the Kirk assassination.
Yeah, so essentially the scope or the investigation has widened for the assassination on Charlie Kirk. It has included an organization called Armed Queers of SLC.
Whoa. Are we allowed to say that? Isn't that a bad word?
Queers? I don't know. That's what they call themselves, so go figure, right?
Man, I feel like if I said that 10 years ago, I would have gotten in trouble. I feel like if I'd have said that 20 years ago, I would have gotten, laughs, because we were shock jocks and Howard Sterney, and now we're back to saying it again. That's so weird. Anyway, continue. This is Armed Queers of Salt Lake City.
Correct. And obviously based in Utah. They're an organization run by a transsexual who basically they promote a transsexual.
I thought you said pan.
And I think that's one of those different other
right. No, sure I wasn't making a joke. Yeah. Just trying to clarify.
Yeah, and they are so there's this organization that's based out of Utah, and they are now being investigated because they're alleging that they may have either known about this assassination in advance, or they know more than the average person. And it's very interesting that they're focusing in on this group. But where the Dallas connection comes in is this organization, Armed Queers SLC, has done several events with, and what they call them workshops, with the Elm Fork John Brown Gun Club. And I know it's a mishmash of words, but essentially John Brown Gun Club. And that is a Dallas-based Antifa group. And what this group does...
Hang on. Can I ask the obvious question? How are they doing a workshop together if one's all the way in Utah and the other one's here in Dallas?
Yeah, good question. So they're doing it over Zoom. You could Google this, and essentially they have this Armed Queers as Instagram page, and they are announcing all of these workshops. Additionally, they advertise these Zoom workshops on Twitter, and we published that as well on our Twitter page. And then as soon as we published it, what's interesting is they deleted their account. So clearly they're in damage control. But they're doing these workshops with the Elm Fork John Brown Gun Club. And that club is a Antifa, Dallas-based Antifa organization.
Do they really know who John Brown is? I mean, John Brown spent his life killing Democrats.
Well, who knows, right? And what this group focuses on is they train other like-minded people, other leftists and communists, how to use weapons and to fight and all of this stuff. And what this group does is they go to training, story time events and stuff all across DFWs, and they provide quote-unquote protection for these drag queen events. And what they do is they stand outside with masks on, and helmets, and body armor, and they hold rifles, and they give off the impression of like intimidation against anybody who's protesting against these drag queen happy hours. And so they're holding these workshop events together, and So yeah, there's definitely a a loose Dallas connection here.
All right, this is going to be the country person speaking here, but city people are so funny to country people sometimes, like the way they treat guns. You know, like we're going to have a workshop with this blue-haired spheroid in Utah to teach us how to defend ourselves. Don't you have a dad? Can't you learn from your dad how guns work and what you're supposed to do with them?
Yeah, well, I assume that they want to be around other like-minded people. I would say you could stereotype and say most gun owners are right-leaning.
Oh, yeah.
And, so it's probably for them, it's probably hard to find training or advice or instruction from somebody who is also like a left-leaning liberal or communist, right? And so what this Gun Club does is they provide that.
Yeah, because the lefties from all across the country have to lean on the Texas lefties because even though they're lefty, they're Texan first and they're the most knowledgeable of guns. That kind of tracks with our brand we have going. So we have the connection where they've done workshops together. Was this just like one thing that happened 5 years ago, or do they have regular contact with each other and this has been an ongoing relationship?
Yeah, great question. Well, it happened around 2 years ago, and the posts seem to indicate that they're at least in communication. Additionally, several members of the John Brown Gun Club have been arrested multiple times. One of them, one of the leaders of that club, was arrested and he's still in jail. He was one of the members that
shot up the Alvarado
ICE facility.
Yeah,
the ICE facility. He's the one that shot up police. Right. And several of their members were arrested for assault against the Christian group just a couple of years ago as well.
So
clearly these are violent groups.
Deliberate, sustained organizations who, whether they're in Utah or Texas, have committed violent acts, at least attempted murder here in Texas, here and in McAllen, actual murder up in Utah. I mean, how many terror attacks do these guys have to commit before they're labeled a terrorist organization?
I guess as many as it takes for Donald Trump and his administration to do something. To be quite frank with you and to speak very boldly, if Donald Trump and his administration doesn't do something about these leftist groups and really crack down on them hard, he will lose my vote.
Well, he's not running again, so I guess he doesn't have to worry about that too much.
Anybody who endorses or anybody that gets his endorsement for president is not going to get my vote. I think a lot of people are fed up with the fact that these leftist groups are continuing to attack Republicans.
Well, they're still getting preferential treatment even a week later. People are still throwing around the term Nazi and fascist. I noticed that if one Muslim blows up one building, he's automatically a terrorist. But apparently Antifa people, they can shoot up Christian schools. They can assassinate Charlie Kirk. They can ambush our ICE facilities. Mm-hmm. And I'm just wondering how far they can stretch this before they get the label. But I thank you very much for doing that legwork. I think a lot of people didn't know that and wouldn't know it had it not been for your site. Tony Ortiz, currentrevolt.com. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Did you know that? Did you know about that connection? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. It's okay if you didn't know about it. I was just kind of blown away and had to share it with you almost immediately when I found out. Wild stuff. So the reverberations from the Charlie Kirk assassination still rippling through Texas. You may have seen in your social media feed that this week Ted Cruz actually got passed around quite a bit on social media because on Highway 59 in Houston, which is a big freeway, someone had graffitied F Charlie Kirk. And so it was something everyone could see as they were coming out of some building, because I think there was like a fundraiser this weekend. And they can call the Texas Department of Transportation and they can file a complaint, and TxDOT, whenever they can get around to it and get it on their maintenance list, will come around and paint over it. But since this was during the weekend, they didn't want to leave it up any longer than it absolutely had to be left up. So Ted Cruz went to the nearest hardware store, got a bucket of paint, slobbed over the F Charlie Kirk himself, took a couple pictures, boom. I loved it. A lot of people loved it. You saw a lot of misery in the comments too. Don't be this person. Don't be the person that says, well, yeah, it said F Charlie Kirk before, but now it's just a big dumb white square. It still looks terrible. Shut up. You're a terrible person. He wasn't covering it in a way that was going to be aesthetically pleasing. He was just doing what he could at the moment to a place that was already messed up and not looking nice. So the terrible, ugly sentiment, the negativity that is being put out into the universe constantly by everyone who went by and read it would immediately cease. Just some miserable people out there. Just absolutely. These people, they've all got to be single. Who could be married to someone like that? 800-288-9227. This is Josh in Burleson. You're on WBAP.
How's it going?
It's going great, Josh.
So you were talking a while ago, and the speaker that you had on mentioned that one of the head leaders in that group was involved in the ICE incident in Alvarado.
Yeah, did he say leaders? I think he just said some person, but I don't know. Well, go ahead. Your point stands.
I think he said he was one of the leaders, but I just thought maybe it was an interesting connection. The police officer in the ICE deal was actually shot in the neck, and Charlie Kirk was also shot in the neck. So I was thinking maybe there's some kind of connection there between the two, even deeper.
They're bad shots? I mean, look, I don't say that to insult him. Yeah, exactly. Well, Josh, I don't say that, again, to insult him. I say that because when they had actual law enforcement snipers, like there was this one guy that was being interviewed in the news somewhere, and I wish I remembered where, so I'd give him proper credit. But he was in the military, and then he was a sniper for like a SWAT team. And he's like, I know it wasn't a professional because he hit him in the neck. And they're like, well, that's still pretty close. He's like, yeah, but if that's me only 200 yards away, I could put it either in the left nostril or the right nostril. So the fact that he was 6 inches off, if he was going for a headshot, means he's not a pro. If he's going for center mass, trying to hit him in the middle of the chest, that's also probably about 8 inches off. So no, we know he's not a pro because the shots were so inaccurate. So I mean, there is something to be gleaned from that besides just making fun of them.
Right. Agree.
All right. Well, great observation, Josh. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you. So the TEA, Texas Education Agency, has confirmed now. I just feel like updating you this every step of the way because this is something that actually will make a difference, but not make headlines. You are constantly inundated with headlines that don't affect you one whit. But in this one, what I'm talking about is last week, Governor Abbott told the TEA to put out a notice to all superintendents saying, hey, if you're getting complaints about improper teacher or administrator reaction to the Charlie Kirk assassination, file a formal complaint. Here's the system we set up. We'll investigate them all. And if we were found that they had acted inappropriately, they will be terminated, put on the do not hire registry, never to work in this state again. I love that. So the TEA put out the letter. It was confirmed earlier this week that they had gotten over 180 complaints. I don't know how many of those are duplicates, how many of those are legit, how many of those are just someone trying to get their math teacher fired. I don't know. But they have confirmed that after the governor got all the complaints and said, cool, we're investigating all these, the TEA is doing it. Texas Education Agency is actually doing it. Now, the teachers union for Texas, they don't like this, but they've had a lot of complaints, and almost all of it's been political, and almost all of it has been to the benefit of Team Blue at the expense of Team Red. So it's an inherently political animal to begin with. But the investigations are happening. The results should be out soon. And I'll be interested to see how many of those 180 or so teachers and administrators actually do lose their jobs. I feel sorry for anyone losing their job. I wish it didn't happen. Sure does make life worse for them. But if you're going to demonstrate that you're indifferent to the death of someone based on their political ideology, that's nothing extreme. He's not literally Hitler. He holds political views that are similar to half of the country. So if you demonstrate that you're indifferent to the death of someone who holds the views of half the country, that's more than just freedom of speech. Did you know we had a school shooting in Dallas yesterday? Well, no, James, come on. Be serious. I would have heard about it. That would be big news, wouldn't it? Well, you would think. But no, it happened yesterday during the James Show. The reports are 4:43 p.m. on Tuesday. Police received reports of gunfire at Ann Richards STEAM Academy. Bullets went through the window of a classroom where 13 students and 2 teachers were inside a classroom. I don't know why they were still there at 4:43 p.m. What time did they get out of school over there? Were they doing some sort of after school something or other? But it's not the school shooting in the way that most people understand the important school shootings. Now, these were stray bullets that came across Military Parkway and struck several windows. So witnesses identified the shooters. The police got them in custody almost immediately. They found the shell casings in the backyard of a nearby home. And 2 young men, one aged 22, one aged 20, were arrested and now faces charge of deadly conduct. I don't know why they were shooting off rounds. I don't know if they were just target practicing at the fence in the backyard that went through and hit the school afterwards. I have no explanation on motive or what the heck else is going on. But we do have mugshots for the guys, for Jaden and DeAndres. So no mention of the motive. Also no mention of race. Oh, that's so weird. Why is that only important in some stories but not other ones? Is there a pattern in which they choose to either put it in the headlines or totally ignore it altogether? That's so weird, because you would think most decent people wouldn't treat stories different based on the skin color of the people involved. You think they would be colorblind and fair and really just honest. It's kind of what we're looking for. A little bit of journalistic integrity. But no, we don't get that. In fact, it gets kind of buried. And when I say buried, hey, local TV stations reported on it, but not like they report on other stories. Not like they reported. They spent more time on what could be, I don't know, maybe a racial slur was said at a volleyball game in Hillsboro. You're going to think I'm making this up. No. We had a TV station spend 3 minutes on what may be something that could possibly be interpreted as a racial slur. 3 minutes on that. You heard more about that than 13 kids and a teacher having bullets fly through the window while they're in school. Here's the report. Godly, it's down there by Hillsboro. You know where Hillsboro's at, on the way to Austin.
It was a tight match from the start.
Like, we were going back and forth, back and forth.
The first district varsity volleyball game between Elias Cephas's Hillsboro Eagles and the Godly Wildcats. Last Tuesday, the Godly crowd was loud, but that's not what caught Hillsboro parent Natalie Rhea off guard.
But when I heard it, it just kind of like shot through me like, is this really happening?
In the third set, Cephas was serving when Rhea heard it. She went back to rewatch the game. There it was again. We counted 4 different monkey noises while different athletes were serving. Cephas's mom, Danita Jackson, says there's only one way to take that.
I think the intention was to distract her and to make fun of her race.
Rhea reached out to Godly immediately, but wasn't happy with the response. She says they called it a learning experience.
We reached out to Godly school administrators. They refused to sit down with us for an on-camera interview. They say they had a lively student cheering section for that game, acknowledging some animal noises were part of that. They say it was not directed toward any particular student, and it was not racially motivated.
Have you ever been to a game where that was a standard chant?
No.
Not monkey noises.
Godly did investigate in a statement saying an administrator was at the game and confirmed she observed nothing inappropriate in the chants or behavior. Jackson has her own take on those findings.
Maybe they don't understand because they're of the other race and it's not their race. So if they can just give a formal apology and let's move forward from it.
Hillsboro investigated too, saying admin talked to Godly, but will leave what happens next up to them.
Whether it was their intention or not, it still happened. And there is a negative connotation with that noise. And so I just want to bring awareness and let them know, like, this is not appropriate. We don't need to be doing this going forward.
Yeah, Brittany, we heard from Hillsboro in your piece. Have you heard from any of the Godly students sitting in the stands that day?
I did. I talked to one student who says it was a joke, meant to be a distraction. We asked him what the school did after the fact. He says the football coach talked to them, but didn't say not to do it, though he says they probably won't. We reached back out to the district with that information. A spokesperson says admin officials did talk to some students, maybe not that student.
That's a bigger news story than bullets flying through the window of an elementary school classroom. You understand how crazy that is? You understand, like, the lack of journalistic integrity, how far we've fallen off as a society? And in the coverage of that story, they didn't even nail down. Did the kid even know? Some people perceive that as a slur. They said it happened 4 times. Well, did it happen only to the 2 players that were black on the Godly team? Or was the noise being made at all the players, regardless of their race? Because that would kind of maybe lend to the idea that he was just making a noise, not thinking of the racial angle that some people could perceive of it. They also said there were animal noises. Were there animal noises other than monkeys? So were they just cycling through and making random animal noises? And because 4 times the noise you heard was a monkey, that some people could say could be used as a racial slur against black people? I mean, when I saw the headline, I'm like, what is someone yelling the N-word at a poor high school student? No, it sounded like some, I don't know, 14-year-old boys or making animal noises, and someone just wants to interpret it in the worst way possible because that's what they've been trained to do. If you've been told your entire life that this is a racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe world full of white supremacists, you'd be on the lookout for that too. But if this really was a racist country, would that even make news? Would a newsroom say, we're going to spend 3 minutes? You realize most newscasts only have about 22 minutes of actual talking to you and news to report because they have commercials and they have like the little intros and the little interstitials where the graphics zoom in and show the logo and then zoom out. That's crazy. 3 minutes on that. All right, that's going to do it for the James Show. Stick around. Mark Levin's coming up next. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP.
The James Show Podcast.